Mr. Chairman, and I want to thank our witnesses for being here. I also joined the chairman in offering my condolences to the families of those killed at last night's training accident at Fort Campbell. On this committee, we take the safety of our service members seriously, and we'll seek a clearer understanding of exactly what happened. I'll also say that when it comes to the Army, the distinguished chairman of this committee knows of whereof he speaks, and I'm fortunate to have him as a teammate. I want to also thank General McConville for his service to the United States. Since earning his commission from West Point in 1981, he has faithfully served his country as an Army aviator and as a general officer. I also want to recognize General McConville's family as the chairman has done, and I don't know if we've recognized the favorite family member, which I understand is his youngest, his grandson, Patton. No U.S. soldiers are fighting against Russia in its brutal invasion of Ukraine. This is Ukraine's fight, and it is fighting well and valiantly. Even though no U.S. troops are directly engaged in the fight, the United States Army is providing critical on-the-ground support for Ukraine. Thousands of U.S. soldiers are deployed to provide logistics to supply Ukraine's military. Thousands more training Ukrainian military personnel. And the result is a significantly degraded Russian military, as Secretary Austin testified earlier, and that is a positive development. The lessons of Ukraine should be an example of our efforts in the Pacific. The Army is and will continue to be on the leading edge of efforts to rebalance our Western Pacific forces. The United States Army Pacific, through Pacific Pathways and other engagements, has established significant relationships with allies and partners that promise to enable access and maneuvering capabilities across the theater. Further, the Army has successfully and rapidly pushed the envelope to rebuild our arsenal of democracy through significant capacity expansion investments and proposed multi-year contracts, though more work remains. The Army also has an important role to play in contested logistics and in providing more options for sensors and shooters to the joint force. I'm heartened by the speed with which the Army has sought to reshape itself to provide deterrent value against the Chinese People's Liberation Army, but we should still do more to accelerate this effort. In particular, we should capitalize on the progress made on the precision strike missile and the mid-range capability weapon system. For next-generation combat vehicles, platforms like the optionally manned fighting vehicle and the armored multi-purpose vehicle may soon replace or reinforce their aging counterparts. I hope to hear more about these advancements and those in network, soldier lethality, future vertical lift, and air and missile defense. None of these achievements or capabilities would work without the dedicated soldiers of the United States Army. And I joined the chairman in noting that we are in the front edge of a recruiting crisis. I would like an update on this year's recruiting goals and how the Army has changed its strategy to meet its recruitment and retention objectives. Along these lines, let me reiterate a position that I've had for several years now during the markup of the NDAA. I am strongly in favor of expanding the junior ROTC, and I do believe this is a valuable program not only for potential military members, but principally for citizenship and public service in our young people. And then sadly, I must mention the Biden administration's disservice to the Army in the fiscal year 2024 budget submission. In that regard, I associate myself with the remarks of the distinguished chairman of this committee. When accounting for inflation, this year's budget is about a 2% cut compared to last year. The impact of that cut is even more severe at a time when personnel expenses are rapidly increasing. Meanwhile, General McConville submitted a list of almost $2 billion worth of unfunded priorities the Army needs, including support for partnership building exercises in the Indo-Pacific, and I do appreciate those submissions because it informs this committee. Further, the budget request fails to use multi-year procurement authority for critical missiles like PAC-3 and GMLRS. I am confident my colleagues, on a bipartisan basis, again, will join me to correct this inadequate budget and ensure the Army has the right resources to confront the nation's current and future challenges. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think we share very many views along this, and we look forward to hearing the testimony directly from these distinguished witnesses.